It's time for another deep dive into Nathaniel, Thatcher, and the Wish Thieves.
Absolutely.
We're picking up right where we left off last time with Nathaniel in Chapter 5. Remember, Nathaniel is immune compromised. He's been shrunk down to the size of a sprite.
Right.
And he's traveling with the mysterious boss and his crew.
Things were already pretty strange by the end of Chapter 4. But
Yeah.
Chapter 5.
Oh, yeah.
Chapter 5 drops Nathaniel and the gang into a town that's, well, simply petrified.
Yeah, what a great title.
It's a clever title.
It is.
Because everything in this town,
Right.
this Petri Sprite town,
Yes,
is literally turned to stone. Like the buildings and the shops, even the trees.
The trees, too.
It's all stone.
And you know, I love how the author grounds this fantastical concept in real-world science.
Oh, for sure.
You know, petrification is a real thing, right?
Exactly.
It's an actual geological process.
It happens when organic material,
Right.
like wood, gets slowly replaced by minerals over a really, really long time.
Yeah. Have you ever seen petrified wood?
Of course.
What do you think when you see it?
It's amazing.
It's beautiful, right?
It's like a snapshot of ancient life,
Yeah.
preserved in stone.
But in the story, it's the saliva of these Petri sprites
Yeah, that's a cool twist, isn't it?
that causes the petrification. It's a unique spin on the real-world phenomenon.
Like imagine a whole town turned to stone by spit. It makes you wonder if the author was inspired by a visit to, Petrified Forest National Park.
It does.
You know, it's like the author is inviting us to see the connection between the real world and the world of the story.
It makes you feel like you're kind of in both worlds,
For sure.
you know?
Yeah,
I mean, it definitely makes the world building more compelling.
absolutely.
So, okay, let's follow Nathaniel and the crew as they venture deeper into this petrified town. They end up at the Hollowed Trunk. I love that name.
That's so cool.
Such a visual name.
It is.
And it's a dimly lit bar that seems to be the local hangout for the Petri sprites.
Yeah, like their watering hole.
Yeah, and it's a great setting.
It is a little mysterious, a bit rough around the edges.
Yeah, I get that.
And we get this sense of tension right away
Yeah.
because the bartenders,
Yeah.
Chet and Jet,
Chet and Jet, I love those names too.
they seem to recognize Boss. You know what I mean?
Like they know something about him.
Right. And it's clear that he's not exactly welcome there.
Like they're a little scared of him or something.
Yeah, like he's got a past.
Right. And then there's that little detail
What's that?
about the lysozyme-based cleaner.
Oh, yeah, Grit the Gook.
Yeah, Grit the Gook being single-sourced
Right.
for higher quality. Like it's a product label you'd see in our world. Those little details that make the setting feel so real and lived in. But the science behind it is fascinating too.
It is.
So lysozyme is an enzyme found in our tears and saliva,
Exactly.
and it has antibacterial properties. So it makes sense as a cleaner.
It does.
Right.
It's another example of how the author blends real-world science with the imaginative element.
What are they drinking in this bar?
So Nathaniel gets introduced to nectar.
Nectar.
A potent Sprite drink described as a blend of honey,
Okay.
butter, vanilla,
I'm liking this already.
and get this,
What?
sassafras.
Sassafras, that reminds me of root beer.
It makes it more relatable.
Yeah.
Even though it's clear that this isn't your average sugary drink,
Yeah.
there's a warning about overdosing and
Ah,
a suggestion not to drink it before bed.
a drink with unexpected side effects.
Maybe.
It definitely adds intrigue to this story.
It does.
I'm curious to see how it plays out.
Me too.
Especially because Flem seems to be
Oh, yeah.
quite fond of the nectar.
He loves that stuff.
Doesn't he? And then there are the rock cakes,
The rock cakes.
which, despite their name,
Right?
aren't as hard as rocks.
I know, right?
It's a funny little detail.
Yeah, it's funny. It adds a little humor to the scene. But I also wonder if it's symbolic.
It's something more.
Yeah. Are things not always as they seem?
I don't know.
Oh, it's a question that keeps coming up
It does.
as we go through this chapter.
Uh-huh.
But before we get to that,
Okay.
let's talk about their mode of transportation out of this petrified town.
What's that?
Because Nathaniel is about to take flight
Oh,
on the back of an odonata.
an odonata.
So for those of us who aren't
Yeah.
up on our entomology,
Uh,
what are we talking about here?
essentially,
Right.
they're like dragonfly creatures.
Okay.
The author gives them some
Uh-huh.
fantastical elements,
Right.
like a seahorse-like head,
Okay.
a serrated tooth on the tail.
Ooh, scary.
But, the description is clearly based on real-world Odonata.
Which includes?
Which includes dragonflies and damselflies.
Oh, okay, so we're talking dragonflies here.
Pretty much.
Cool. And dragonflies are some of the most ancient insects on Earth.
I know they've been around forever, like millions of years. Yeah, and I love how the author, blends these real-world creatures with fantastical elements.
Great.
Right, to create something unique.
Yeah, and memorable.
And memorable.
Can you imagine a swarm of these?
Oh, my gosh.
In flight.
That would be amazing.
It would be like a living kaleidoscope. Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Remember her?
I do.
The girl who's been trapped in the sprite world.
Right. For 5 years, makes a bold suggestion.
What's that?
She tells Nathaniel they should run away.
It's a pivotal moment.
It is.
She's clearly seen enough of the wish thieves to know that they're not to be trusted.
Right. And for her to suggest this to Nathaniel, who she barely knows, shows how desperate she is to escape. It definitely raises the stakes.
It does.
And it puts Nathaniel in a really difficult position.
It does.
Because he's starting to see the cracks in the wish thieves facade. But he's also terrified of facing the unknown dangers of the sprite world alone.
Right. Like, what would you do?
Yeah, it's a tough call.
It is.
On the one hand, you have Boss and his crew who, despite their questionable methods, have provided him with, food, shelter, transportation. And on the other hand,
you got Aaliyah.
You have Aaliyah, who's been trapped in this world for years.
I know.
And clearly knows more than she's letting on.
Yeah, and then you've got Bunny.
Oh, yeah. What about Bunny?
Who seems to be watching everything with this knowing look.
Yeah, there's something about her.
There is.
That we don't know yet.
Yeah, like she's waiting for the right moment to reveal something.
I think you're right.
Yeah, she's a wild card in all of this.
She is.
But anyway, as the chapter comes to a close, Nathaniel's got to make a decision, at least for now.
Yeah.
He's separated from Aaliyah.
Oh, no.
He's forced to ride with Boss on the back of an Odonata. That image of Nathaniel separated from Aaliyah riding with Boss, it really emphasizes the control the wish thieves have over him right now.
Yeah, it's a stark visual. And you have to wonder, is this physical separation intentional on Boss's part?
Oh, I think so.
Is he trying to keep Nathaniel away from Aaliyah's influence?
Absolutely. Remember, Boss is all about control.
Right.
He manipulated Nathaniel to get him into the sprite world.
Right.
He's not going to let him slip away now. Especially with Aaliyah planting those seeds of doubt.
Yeah, and it's not just physical control.
Right.
We still don't know exactly what Nathaniel wished for.
That's true.
But based on his love of adventure and maps, it's safe to assume he wished for something more than his confined life.
Yeah.
Ironically, he's got an adventure.
He has.
But not in the way he probably imagined.
Not quite how he pictured it.
Yeah, and it makes you question their motives.
What are they really after? Are they just granting wishes?
Or is there something more sinister at play?
Speaking of sinister,
yeah,
let's go back to that scene in the hollowed trunk where the bartenders, Chet and Jet, clearly recognized Boss.
They did?
They even seemed afraid of him.
A little bit.
And that cryptic comment about Boss not being blue back then.
Yeah, what do you make of that?
It definitely suggests the hidden past.
Yeah.
Something Boss isn't being truthful about.
Right. Or maybe he's changed somehow.
Possibly.
Or maybe he's hiding his true identity.
Could be.
And that raises even more questions about his motive.
It does.
Why would he need to hide his past?
And we're just starting to see the cracks.
Exactly.
But back to Nathaniel's dilemma.
Okay.
Aaliyah urges him to escape.
Right.
And he's torn.
He
sees the wish thieves' deception, but he's also afraid of the unknown dangers of the sprite world.
Right. Aaliyah, who's been trapped for years, represents experience.
Yeah.
And she knows the wish thieves are bad news. But Nathaniel's new to this world. He's grappling with his initial trust in Boss.
Right.
And that fear of going it alone.
And then we've got Bunny.
Oh, Bunny.
Who seems to be watching everything unfold.
Yeah, she's more than just a ditzy sidekick.
I know.
There's a hidden depth to her.
Right, like she's holding back crucial information.
Like she's waiting for the right moment.
I think so.
To play your hand.
Yes.
And it makes you wonder about Aaliyah's plan.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been trapped in the sprite world for 5 years.
Right.
Do you think she's had time to formulate an escape plan?
I think it's more that she was tricked into entering this world by another sprite.
Right, a Nixie siren.
A Nixie siren.
I bet she's learned a thing or two about survival.
I'm sure she has.
And she's resourceful.
She is.
But what about Nathaniel?
Yeah.
Will he have the courage to follow her lead?
That's the big question.
If the opportunity arises.
He's torn between his desire for freedom and his fear of the unknown.
Right.
And the Wish Thieves have been playing on that fear.
Right.
Emphasizing the dangers of the sprite world.
He can choose to embrace the unknown.
Right.
Trust Aaliyah.
Yeah.
And fight for his freedom.
Right. And let's not forget about Flem and Bunny. Where do their loyalties lie?
Right.
Will they help or hinder Nathaniel's escape?
So many questions.
It is intriguing. This whole story. I mean, this isn't just an adventure story.
That's not.
It's a story about trust, betrayal, and the struggle for freedom.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think Nathaniel's journey into the sprite world is really a metaphor for the journey we all take. I agree.
As we grow up, learning to question authority.
Right.
Challenge assumptions.
Yeah.
And ultimately make our own choices.
Beautifully said.
And, as we wrap up our deep dive into Chapter 5, we're left with a sense of anticipation.
We are.
The stage is set for a confrontation.
It is.
For a battle of wills.
Between Nathaniel and the Wish Thieves.
Exactly.
But it's not just a physical battle. It's a battle for Nathaniel's mind.
Yeah.
His heart. And ultimately his freedom.
Will he find the courage?
I don't know.
To break free?
Will he trust Aaliyah?
Right.
And forge his own path?
What role will Flem and Bunny play?
Right.
In this unfolding drama?
I guess we'll have to wait for the next chapter.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Absolutely.
We'll be back soon to explore the next chapter.
Can't wait.
Of Nathaniel, Thatcher, and the Wish Thieves. Until then, keep those pages turning.
See you next time.